What's up YouTube, this is Devin from Team TKK giving you a Touken Ranbu deck profile. Mine's going to be the Shinken Hisatsu build, so it's going to be a little different from what you normally see. So I have the starter Forerunner, so when you put this into Soul you give 2 units with Shinken Hisatsu 3000 power, so usually when you stride you want to put this into Soul and give power to your rear guards, but formerly the grade 2, which is a 7k, which I'll explain the strategy on how to do that a little bit later. As for the triggers, we have 4 heal triggers, which is standard in every deck, pretty much. 3 draws. The reason I run, 3 stands. The reason I run 3 stands is because with the 2 Hamada grade 2s I run, so if I had a stand trigger that would be pressure because the grade 2s that I have are both on hit abilities, so I explain that combo after the profile. I run 5 crits actually. This one being the normal one that you put into Soul, draw a card, gain 5k to Vanguard. And then I run 4 draws. I tested this trigger lineup. It may look wonky, but it's actually pretty consistent. I had a friend who had the Touken Ranbu deck too, and well, his trigger lineup was rainbow triggers. So yeah, with this build you can run wonky triggers if you want, and you kind of have to run stands in this build a little bit because some of the abilities, since it's Shinken Hisatsu, are on hit, so it would make more pressure plays, seeing as this deck doesn't run Legion. Okay, onto the grade 1s. I run 4 Stride Fodders. I don't really have to use the ability too much, the Hamada ability, but I usually just use it for striding because the grade 2s and grade 3s make up for the hand consistency and the unflipping, seeing as this deck doesn't counterblast too much for me. So yeah, that's the reason behind this. I also standard 4 PGs, standard unflip. Yeah, pretty much easy. This grade 1 when Shinken Hisatsu is counterblast 1, soul blast 1, and give 4000 when placed. This is a good pressure ability. I run 3 of him, but I don't use his ability all the time. I just use him as a booster. So that's the whole reason for him. On this guy, Nikari Aoi, I run 3 of him. He's also a Shinken Hisatsu ability. But when he's placed, I have a grade of 3. Vanguard put its soul on that, and the Vanguard gets 10k power. So it's kind of like a mini break ride. But I only use this in situational plays. But I'll explain the combo with this a little bit later too. Grade 2s, I run the 7k. Counterblast 1, soul blast 1, draw 2. Well, you discard 2. So this card, even though it's a 7k, with a lot of utility in this deck, the 7k really isn't a hindrance unless you ride it, which hopefully you won't have to. And I'll explain the combos with this card a little bit later. And here's where the deck really gets interesting, because these are the only Hamada units I run, and they're grade 2s. So this one is Yamatono Kami Yasuda. This is grade 2. It's a counterblast 1 on hit. It gains 2k power. And the on hit ability is when you have modded, choose a card from your hand, discard it, and when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you do draw a card. So it gains 2k. So when you want to, you can just activate it before you swing. It comes at 11k, and then if it hits, you discard and draw 2 cards. So it's another good thing to incorporate with the stands, which is, I find, pretty helpful at grade 2 step when you want to rush. Another Hamada grade 2 I run is Nagitsume Sune. He's the counterblast 1, soul blast 1 on hit. When you do, draw a card and then choose a card and call it to rear guard. So he's also good with the stand trigger if you have him behind. This hits, stand this, call something, you can call this, counterblast, 11k pressure, hit, and do this. You can pretty much do this again, but seeing as this one is, this one was Shinken Hisatsu, not Hamada. Can't really get the names right, but yeah, this is the only Hamada unit I run. This is a Shinken Hisatsu, sorry, if you can't see. But yeah, this unit is pretty good for Shinken Hisatsu. This one, I'm probably going to change the deck around a little bit, so that way the stand trigger is more incorporated. But yeah. And then the last grade 2 I run is 3 of the Touken attackers, also Shinken Hisatsu. A lot of the grade 3s incorporate with this ability as well. So this is a good turn 2, because seeing as all their effects are activated on damage of 3, it's kind of like a mini limit break. So yeah, I run 3 of this. For grade 3s, I run the decent grade 3, the one with the only grade 3 in the set with stride ability. So when it's shrouded on top, I believe it's Soul Charge 1 and give 2 of your units 3k power, so it doesn't matter if they're Shinken Hisatsu, but this is another Hamada unit that I run. So its other abilities, when this unit attacks Counter Blast 1? Oh no, Counter Charge 1 and choose a grade 3 from your top zone and return it. So it's also lets you recycle for striding if you get rid of grade 3s. Yeah, so it's a pretty decent grade 3 to run in the deck. It's a necessity. And then I run 2 of this Yukimaru. This thing is good by itself. But during your turn, if you have all your front row rear guards gain 2k power. So things like this becomes an 11, things like the 7k becomes 9, so it hits for better numbers. And then when we reveal a grade 1 or greater, so it's pretty much anything, it's pretty much a trigger. Unless you reveal a trigger, then I mean it's still power. It gains 5k power. So potentially guarding for 2 is no longer valid if you're running this card, which I run it as a tech of. So yeah. And the last grade 3 I run is Tonal BQ. He's a Shinken Hisatsu as well. But his is for anti-rush because his ability is Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1. When it's attacked, I choose a card and Soul Blast it, and it gains 2k power. Yeah, and it also has another ability. When this unit attacks, until the end of the battle, your opponent can't call grade 0. So it's a good card to run just in case you don't get like your main stride guy out, the Tuzu Kuninaga, with the Hamada ability. So I mean, it's a good thing to sit on, but don't sit on him for too long because this deck doesn't maintain soul that well. As for my strides, it's kind of wonky strides seeing as his deck is mostly Shinken Hisatsu. So I run 2 Iwatoshis. It's basically a Vermilion on stride, Counter Blast 1 Persona Flip. I only run 1 of him because my friend that also played this deck ran 4 of him. But seeing as my deck is kind of balanced, it's rearguard centric sadly. So some decks might run over it, but I'm hopefully on pressure units because these will hit for higher numbers, will devastate. So this is usually my first turn stride, depending on what their board setup is. I run 3 Taratachis. This is also like this is basically like the main stride guy. So basically you can stack the power. So you soul charge, you give 3 to 2 units, and then you can stack another 3, I believe. Yeah, in the front row gain 3k power for its ability. So 3/4 of this deck is Shinken Hisatsu except for 1 grade 3 and like 1 grade 2, which is a 2 of. So yeah, this card, usually when you stride into this, they're usually going to say no guard unless they hit a trigger, which numbers hit for decent. So yeah, because seeing as if you stride into that and then you hit triggers, then I mean the numbers become viable because that 7k becomes a 10k or a possible 13 with a booster 20, so it's still 10k, but if you hit a trigger it's 25, so 15. I run 2 Homotaru. This is the restander. This is usually a strat I usually don't go into because it restands, you gotta rest units, and then it loses triple drive, so it only gains single. But I mean, that's only if you want to apply pressure and you know what your opponent has. So I run him, Persona Flip. And then the last card is the Generation Rare. This card is pretty good. It's like it's basically like an Iwatoshi, but you can counterblast anything, and then I believe it gains 3k for each G unit zone. For every 2 face-up cards in G unit, choose one opponent's front or rear guards are retired. So this is pretty good, and it gains a crit. So it's basically this. Because, I mean, by the time you go into that, you should pretty much be able to clear the front row and add a crit to it. So hopefully either they're saying no guard, or they're going to drop a lot for this, actually. But hopefully I can run this at 2. I'm still test playing with this, so yeah. This deck is not finalized, so if you guys have any questions, comments, leave them in the description below, and hopefully we can get a match video with this deck and show you what the deck really does. But yeah, that's it for my Touken Ranbu deck profile. So this is Dan from Team TQK signing off. Talk to you guys later.